Hey guys, it's Jeff from Fresh No Luck, and today we're going to make a Thanksgiving classic that, well, really no Thanksgiving will be complete without it. It's sometimes the stuff that people like as a side, sometimes people even eat this stuff as a main, and I keep saying stuff because I think the stuff is called stuffing. Yes, so guys, we're making stuffing in the Instant Pot. It's so incredibly easy, and I'm guaranteeing you right now it's going to be one of the best stuffings you've ever had in your life. Right in the Instant Pot, so easy to make, and then you just top it off in the oven for a few minutes and give it a nice little broiled top. It's gonna be so insanely good, and wait till you see it, guys. You don't need any more introduction for this. Instant Pot stuffing, let's go. So the first thing we wanna do is we wanna preheat our oven to 350 degrees. And we're gonna start with 1 loaf of a white bread, and then chop up that bread into sizable chunky cubes like this, and then line it on a baking sheet just like so, because we're gonna pop it into the oven for a few to get nice and toasty. So I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I'm gonna pop the tray full of the bread chunks in there, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it for about 15 minutes or so, and then toss it every so often. And now while our bread is toasting in the oven, let's take 2 stalks of celery, chopped up nice and finely just like this, so we have nice tiny little pieces here. And let's take a medium yellow onion, also nice and chopped up, pretty small, like into little pieces like that. And after about 8 to 10 minutes, let's go to the oven and take our bread and then just give everything a little bit of a turn over. So just take your hand and just kind of flip everything around, just move it around so each piece of bread goes kind of to a different area of the baking sheet. So we have some even distribution here. You'll feel it's already starting to get nice and toasty. We want it to not be super crispy, but it's a little bit toasty enough. So we have about 15 to 20 minutes worth of cooking time, about 10 minutes each time we put it in and out. And then back in for about another 8 to 10 minutes. So while our bread in the oven is cooking to become our stuffing, let's make our stuffing base in the Instant Pot. We're gonna start with 6 tablespoons or 3/4 of a stick of salted butter. And come down to the pot and hit the saute function and adjust so we are on the more or high setting. And we're gonna wait for that butter to melt. All right, guys, once that butter is all melted, and if you know me pretty well, you know my love for a specific product. Yes, that's gonna be a better than bouillon base. But of course, because this is stuffing and because it's Thanksgiving and because we're putting the stuffing in a turkey, we're gonna use some turkey base for this. If you can get your hands on it, amazing. I'll link it in the recipe where you can get it for a great price, or your supermarket might have it. If they don't, you can totally use chicken base. That's totally fine too, but I'm gonna use some turkey. All right, so now that our butter is all melted and bubbling, I'm gonna add that turkey base or chicken base, and I'm gonna put 1 1/4 cups of it into the pot, along with our chopped celery and our chopped onions. And then give everything a stir, and it's gonna come to a nice simmer, and we're gonna let this cook in there for about 5 minutes. And while we're having our lovely onions and celery simmer in that broth, let's take out our delicious toasted bread cubes here. And let's leave our oven on because we're gonna end up popping our stuffing in there at the very end to give it a little bit of nice crispy roasting to the top of it. And now you see that our lovely broth is simmering nicely, so now it's time to add a few seasonings. We're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of seasoned salt, 1 teaspoon of a dried or rubbed sage, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, a 1/2 teaspoon of poultry seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And now let's give everything a stir. And by the way, you can totally do this on the stove as well, but why not? We have an Instant Pot, we can use 1 pot and just really clean 1 pot, so let's just do it in here, right? And after a few minutes of it simmering together with the spices and the onions and the celery, make sure you try it out and make sure that the onions and the celery are more softened than they are crunchy, because we want it to be that way. And then we're gonna be all set, and we're gonna pour this over our lovely toasted bread cubes. All right, so let's turn our pot off. And once all of our delicious toasted bread has cooled, look at that, it's nice and you hear that? Perfect. We're gonna transfer all of this into a bowl, so just put it in. And now let's take our delicious, what we've created here, this base for our stuffing, and pour it all over our breadcrumbs. And then just mix everything up together, all of our space and all of our breadcrumbs. And then make sure you really work it together to get every last nook and cranny of that bread covered with our amazing base. And also, if you feel like it's not moist enough yet for stuffing, trust me, once it's in the turkey and it's cooking in there, it's going to be. So it's absolutely perfect right now. It's a little mushy, but it's not super mushy, it's not super crunchy, it's exactly where everywhere. We want it Goldilocks style, just right. The next thing we need is really critical to cooking this stuffing properly in the Instant Pot, if you wish to do it that way. We're gonna take a 6-cup bundt pan. These are easily found on Amazon. I will link it in the recipe. It's super cute, super light, super awesome, and we're gonna take all this amazing stuffing mixture and put it in the pan. But first, let's make sure we line it with some Pam. Let's make sure we get that center piece as well, because we don't want the stuffing to stick to any of the pan. All right, now let's take the stuffing and put it inside of our bundt. Now, using a spoon or very, very clean hands, let's take all that stuffing and pack it into that bundt pan. Pack it in. And make sure we really pack all of that stuffing in there. We're gonna make it fit, and as you see, it fits perfectly right to the brim. All right, excellent. Now we're gonna take some tin foil, and we're gonna cover the top of our bundt pan. And the reason why we're doing this is because when we cook it in our Instant Pot, we don't want any moisture to get on top of our stuffing. We don't want it to, get any drippings of moisture. And there we go. Look at that. Stuffing in a bundt. We're gonna put it right inside of our Instant Pot. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the Instant Pot, and you don't even have to wash it out. Well, what I'm gonna do is put the trivet in there. We're gonna add in 1.5 cups of water to our pot. And now let's carefully place our bundt pan on top of our trivet. Secure the lid and make sure we're in sealing position, and then come down to the pot, and we're gonna hit manual, and we're just gonna go down for 15 minutes on this, guys. 15 minutes, that's it. All right, now let's finish with a quick release. And our pin just dropped, so let's get our lid off. And, well, there's our stuffing. Now we're gonna carefully remove it from the pot. And this is one of the great reasons of having that trivet in the pot, because these great handles here are gonna make it super easy to lift our delicious bundt pan out of the pot. All right, and now let's remove our tin foil, and then we're going to take a look at our stuffing. And, oh, already, it's like unwrapping a gift on Thanksgiving. It's gorgeous. And there we have it, all of our stuffing. Beautiful, oh, look at it, it's just gorgeous. So now we wanna take our bundt of our delicious stuffing, and we wanna put it and unmold it on top of a foil-lined baking sheet, and just put it on top like that, and then just tap the top of it with a spoon and the sides. It'll help it get out. That's just why we put the Pam in there earlier. And voila, perfect. Now we're gonna pop this into the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on it and get it a little bit crispy. All right, pop it in the oven, and we're gonna check back on it in about 5 to 10 minutes. We're still at 350 degrees. Just keep an eye on it. All ovens vary. Make sure it just gets a little bit crispy. It's gonna be gorgeous when it's all finished. And now that about 10 minutes have passed, let's check on our stuffing, and oh boy, does that look gorgeous or what? Absolutely gorgeous. Let's get that out of the oven. And there we have it, guys. Our beautiful stuffing looking absolutely spectacular. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, let's try some of this out. All right, so now let me just cut myself a slice. And look at that, when I cut the stuffing up, you can cut it into whatever pieces you want. It cuts so nicely, and look at that. The stuffing is absolute perfection. And wait until you pour some gravy over it too. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna pour a little bit of gravy on top of this stuffing here, because, it's stuffing. Why not have a little bit of gravy too? Nice thick gravy. This is actually the gravy that I made with the turkey, and it's phenomenal. You're gonna love it. Now let me try this out. All right, oh boy. Stuffing is my favorite part of any Thanksgiving meal. Here we go. The onions and the celery, mixing in with everything, there's a little bit of a slight little crunch to it to die for. There's a little bit of elements of crispiness, there's an element of softness to it. The flavor is unbelievable. You can even chew it a little bit in your mouth. It's just amazing. That soft white bread that was cooked, now a little bit crispy. There's something about this stuffing that it tastes like unlike anything else. It tastes so homemade, none of that box stuff. You're gonna absolutely lose your mind over it. It's that good. Hang on. It's gonna be very filling too, because remember, that's a whole loaf of bread we put in there. So be sparingly with your stuffing. Use some of this amazing gravy to eat with it. This stuffing is gonna be, of course, a wonderful complement to a turkey for Thanksgiving, or really any dish, or even brisket. But I'm telling you, if you wanna have some of this stuffing, check out my turkey recipe too, because I actually put the recipe for the stuffing in there as well. Super easy. Man, I'm giving thanks for this. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy these easy to follow videos and the recipes that go along with them, go to pressureluckcooking.com. If you wanna pin any recipe, hover over any photo, you'll see a little save icon up here in the top left corner. Pin it to any board you like. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/pressureluckcooking, and like the page. Tons of updates, all helpful tips. Whenever a new recipe drops and comes out, you'll know about it. Funny things, humor, you know it. You name it, you got it. And also, of course, Twitter, @PressureLuck. Again, whenever a new recipe comes out, it gets tweeted, so you're gonna definitely wanna follow me there. Instagram, I have it all. Subscribe to my YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for everything. I really can't thank you enough. And so much, in fact, that I'm making this amazing Thanksgiving meal for all of you guys. Thanks again.